The pledge of allegiance given by Mr. Keith Smith.
We pray with you. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for another beautiful day. We thank you for many blessings you've given us. We ask now that you watch over these proceedings and they'll be pleasing in your sight. We ask that you watch over the citizens and the employees of Scottsboro as we go about our daily business. Guard, guide, and direct us so in the end we may all come to thee. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item tonight is the Downtown Redevelopment Authority purpose and events calendar. Dr. Andrew Hodges and Ms. Ann Chambliss and James Allen.
Again, he's out real quick. All right, good being here. Good to see everybody. Thank you all for allowing us to speak to you tonight. We're actually very excited about this program being part of the Scottsboro Downtown Redevelopment Authority. I think we can all think back to a time in our lives, or at least in the lives of our parents, or memories that are hanging down through the years about how wonderful our downtown is, and especially how wonderful it was in the past. And I think a big goal of ours is to get people to rediscover how special our town is. It's not like any others, and I think a lot of that has gone to the wayside in terms of what we could offer downtown. And our goal is to help kind of rediscover the beauty of downtown and in any way possible. You'll see in this folder there are minutes from our last meeting. There are actually a few items that are missing. Before I jump to the minutes just quick, I want to kind of make known what we voted on to be our mission or our purpose, and I'll go over that briefly. The SDRA was established by the Scottsboro City Council as a means of creating a sense of place based on downtown Scottsboro's unique natural and cultural assets. We'll utilize Scottsboro's historic resources, including both built and landscape components, by providing critical texture and context to redevelopment areas that improve economic and social vitality. The SDRA will strive for effective preservation and redevelopment projects that reuse historic structures that deliver tangible economic and financial benefits, and will work with private property owners to adapt historic or culturally significant existing buildings to new uses. We'll act in concert with private developers to effectively take advantage of the best that both have to offer. We'll strive for balance between public rights and responsibilities and private property rights and motivations. We'll continuously look for ways to gain a better understanding of what motivates the private sector to partner with the public sector. And we'll make periodic reports to you, the council, regarding short-term and long-range goals and actions of its membership. That being said, we also did vote on the bylaws. They are lengthy, and if that's okay, I won't read over those. But they are present in this folder. We did start getting into some very early projects at our last meeting. The first thing, obviously, we want to do is we have a lot of ideas, but ideas are great as long as you know how to fund them. And so our first objective is to begin actively seeking grants, donors, other ways to receive monies for our activities. So far, we haven't received any, but we're in the process of seeking what grants are available. We're reaching out to other communities, other cities that have undergone major renovations in their downtown successfully. One idea is the beautification outside parking lots of the square. I'm sure a lot of you possibly are like me in that you don't even realize some of these places have, or we don't have public parking as well marked as we could. And I think a lot of people might not even know we have public parking around the square. One small, short-term goal we have is to at least clearly mark where our parking spaces are, at least at the present time. You'll see a copy of this in there. This is the first idea is basically to better demarcate those areas. We have attached to the back of this basically pricing for the materials, the size, 18 by 24. And our other subjects we went over were funding of speaker systems and the light poles. I know that we were kind of thinking of a neat idea where, a lot of different people come to the square. It would be nice to kind of create an environment that, I don't know, might take you back to a different time and place every now and then, but as far as having music coming through the speaker systems, maybe through the poles. Maybe some weekends have a big events at Payne's or something like that, and it would be 50s and 60s music. Ideas like that. And also be available for public service announcements and things like that around the square. And then, of course, we have a lot of historic buildings and things, and so we were going to pursue signage for the square for historic registry. A couple other things that weren't on here that we did remember we talked about a little bit. We wanted to create as much of a public involvement as we could to the redevelopment. One idea is to get with all the different owners of the buildings around the square, basically have a roster or a list of who they are, what they own, and each of us divvy those up and talk to a group of them about what they might want, what goals they would have for their business, what ideas they have that would bring business in, basically to create as much of a community involvement in this project as possible. And can you think of anything?
We're going to go to Decatur and Yankton to see what ideas have been productive in their downtown revitalization.
That's right. And also to add to that, I have a couple of contacts in Fairhope when I used to work there in medical school about their downtown redevelopment. And so we have a few different contacts in different areas that we're going to be contacting to see what processes that we start, what grants are immediately available, which ones are going to take a while to apply for. And I think that's it. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions for him?
Dr. Hodges, I have one.
Yes.
What is it you're trying to achieve with this now? I was a little confused because when I first look at this, I think City of Scottsboro parking, I'm thinking City Hall parking. I mean, maybe I'm thinking wrong, but what is it you're trying to achieve by marking these signs?
Well, it's basically to increase public knowledge that that there is public parking available. I believe one lot is right across here. Is that right? Behind the legislative building. I think that is a city parking, if I'm not mistaken. But I think there's
I'm not sure. I think I've been told that's city property, but do you know, Mr. Kenner?
I believe that's city property. I believe the parking lot where the old, well, I'm not going to say what bank used to be there because you won't know what it is. That property that's behind Ann's store, or what used to be Goody Two Shoes now, is city parking. I believe the post office parking is actually county parking.
Those two
And
are
the
the
one
ones.
right across the street there is also county parking.
since it's a county legislative.
Yeah.
That's right.
I understand now. I thought you was talking about putting it on the square, but you're talking about separate lots. So
Yes,
I understand.
yes, sir.
I think I've seen this sign in Garnesville, this is downtown Garnesville parking, and then it shows, parking like off the main drag.
Yes, sir.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Thank you.
So those prices that you have on there, Andrew, where was that, where did they come from?
Let's see.
Tennessee Valley Signs. Eddie, is that something that y'all could make and save the money?
If you get us the size of it and everything, I'm sure we can.
Okay. I think it's roughly 18 by 24 is what we have right now.
Thank you, Eddie.
And Dr. Hodges, I would recommend something in the sign that says public parking instead of City of Scottsboro parking.
That's
I'm with the mayor that makes it sound like,
That's for city officials or something.
yeah.
Sure,
I
sure.
mean, I would clarify that that's for the
For
public.
the public. That's a good idea.
To add a little humor, we talked about making the sign say, park and play in Scottsboro.
The Episcopalians are parking and praying.
That's right.
No, that was the basis of the idea.
Does anyone have anything else?
I have one more announcement. Tammy Reese, who's the director of the North Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association, is going to meet with our Downtown Redevelopment Authority on Tuesday night, April the 7th, at 6 o'clock at the Veranda. And I met her in Montgomery, and she's just full of good ideas. So any of you who would like to come to that meeting on April the 7th, you would certainly be welcome.
Anything else? Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Andrew, just whenever you get ready to leave, Eddie, just give Eddie one of those signs and he'll look into it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item is downtown Scottsboro, Deborah Light.
Not that y'all haven't gotten enough already. Okay, not to bombard y'all with a ton of paperwork tonight, but the downtown Scottsboro is doing an artisan vintage market on the square. This is going to take place March the 28th and 29th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. Obviously, we planned this to play, excuse me, off of the Chamber's fishing tournament. We're trying to recruit any wives, any family members that might be in town that need a place to go and will come visit with us. The flyer is all about what the market, what will be at the market, but we've also included a little vendor packet that we've handed out to anybody who wanted to participate with us. We've already spoke with the mayor, we've already spoke with Ralph Dahl about marking off the streets so that we can have our vendors set up. We had planned to do this twice a year. That was the original thought to this. But we will make sure that there's no conflict with First Monday, Art Sunday, any other groups in town. So we'll make sure that we plan our calendar around any other events. Do you have any questions?
You said 28th and 29th.
Yes, sir.
I just scribbled that here. Isn't 28th and 29th Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, sir. But it's not First Monday weekend. First Monday will be the next weekend.
It's 5 days. 5, Monday, we put it 5.
The spaces that you plan on using for vendors, is that the inside only, or they'll be inside and outside?
It'll be inside only.
Have you had very many people show interest?
We have approximately 20 vendors this far, and we have some promised, but until we get their paperwork, we want to make sure that we don't count them.
Any other questions?
Deborah, when you say that you're not gonna compete with those, functions in the fall, are you not gonna have a function in the fall, or are you gonna try to make it?
We will make sure we're a minimum of 60 days out of anything that is already set in stone for Scottsboro. I know Art Sunday is a big deal, and originally we had talked about November 1st, but that falls on, because we want to be in conjunction with Unclaimed Baggage and play off of their crowd, but that competes with First Monday, so we will find another weekend.
Well, there's other things there too. What's the women's league thing that they have?
That'll be the end of November, and that is a mistletoe market. So we'll make sure that we're well advised on what's going on and not try to compete. First, ours is an outside event, so weather permitted, I mean, it could be cold at that point, it may not, but it'll all be based on the success of this first one.
Have you met with those other two organizations, Mistletoe Market, and people from both of those?
We spoke at Women's League, and they were very excited about it. 3 Arts, we did meet with them, and we had planned to meet with them again. We just haven't been able to sit down. We just want to reassure them that they can play off of us. We're not using their vendors. We don't have their vendor list. That if they want to come and shop our vendors and try to pull them into their Art Sunday crowd, we'll encourage that.
Now, the admission is free on the flyer, but you're charging for vendors to come in, correct?
We are. We are trying to raise money that will strictly be spent on the downtown area.
So, Mr. Kimmer, is that something that the council has to authorize them to do?
If they were not charging vendors, all they would have to do is get permission of the mayor and the police chief. The fact that they're charging vendors requires the council to approve the action.
Any other questions?
Can we put it on the next Monday's council meeting?
Yes, that was fun. They just make sure everybody was for that. To be better. You have anything else, Deborah?
If we get approved next Monday, will that be long-term, like if we do that in the fall, or will I need to come back in the fall? If we decide to do that?
You'll need to come back.
Okay.
We could possibly, if they give us an idea of what they're talking about, how many they're talking about, can we do those 3 or 4 that use different intersections? They don't have to come back anymore.
As a general rule, and not saying anything derogatory about the organization, the general practice has been that we give an organization 2 or 3 years to see, or 2 or 3 occasions to see how things work before we make things permanent. I think that was exactly the way it happened with Art Sunday and some of the other organizations' events that have taken place over the years. So we want to treat this event exactly the same way.
Well, we appreciate any consideration you'll give to this. Again, we are just a group of volunteers that are trying to promote the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll put it on next week's agenda. Next item is Gary Morgan, first Monday.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you a few moments on First Monday. And I appreciate what the Downtown Redevelopment Authority had to say about supporting the Scottsboro and in the attempt to revitalize that downtown area. Is and with part of their mission, whether it be parking or improving the appearance, that's definitely appreciated. But I also want to remind the council members and the mayor and the other good citizens here that Scottsboro's First Monday event is a historical event. It's been here for in excess of 108 years. And it was here way before that, not necessarily in Scottsboro, but as we look at the history, it goes back even to the time when court was held at other places like Bellefonte, to where people would gather. And it becomes an event outside of trading that is also gathered. And I would like to ask that whether it be the redevelopment authority or the downtown Scottsboro group to please support First Monday. It is important. We've taken numerous hits at First Monday. There's been numerous things at the car show, for example. The car show started out being on First Monday, but what happened, it was moved, and the Small Business Council was given $5,000 in funds to hold that event. And of course, that changed. They changed it to the first Saturday. Now, a lot of times the first Saturday is on the first Monday weekend, but there are times it is not. So basically, what I'm saying, we've taken a lot of hits, whether it be from, actually building this structure here and removing the parking lot that was here. That was a hit. Vendors being harassed by ex-employees in the city of Scottsboro. That was a hit. And there was confusion. First Monday for a long time was a football. And I got to tell you, the reason I'm speaking to you this evening is I'm concerned about the artisan and vintage market to be held on the square. And Lord knows I'm not trying to take anything away from the good group of people here that's trying to improve Scottsboro. But I'm wondering, and I would ask, that why can't events be held on First Monday? Now I realize you're selling spots. In First Monday spots, there is no charge for it. But there are things you can sell. And I would bend over backwards. I'd do anything to help these folks. Unless they're going to detract from the First Monday event, because there's always been a number of detractors. And I got to tell you, there's much more to this, I think, than appears on the surface. For instance, I wanted to know if there's a 501c3 organization involved here. I got no answer. And to my knowledge, the Downtown Scottsboro Group is not a 501c3, and they're taking money. And this is city property out here. So they're renting, leasing city property. And I don't know, their purpose is to, of course, improve the appearance of downtown Scottsboro. And there's been already good work done there. But if it's going to be done, let's do it right. And I'm asking them to support First Monday. And I'm asking you to support First Monday. And this has been known for a long time. It was in this article here was, I believe, it was March the 4th. It was in the Clarion, and about the same time in the Daily Sentinel. When I talked to the mayor about it, he knew anything about it. He didn't know anything about it. Nobody contacted him. So it's almost like putting the cart before the horse. And it's your decision. I'm not saying that don't approve it, but I am saying that you need to consider the First Monday event and to support First Monday as a traditional event. And so do these other organizations here need to support First Monday. We need to do things to bring First Monday back, not detract from it. That's the reason I'm here. And I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, here I am.
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is a resolution, award the paving bid. Ms. Phillips, you want to cover that, please?
We submitted bids for paving. We posted one bid, mailed 4 bids, and received 1 bid. You have in front of you the bid results from Wiregrass Construction. It is recommended that the bid be awarded to Wiregrass Construction as the lowest responsible bidder that met specifications.
Does anyone have any questions on that? put it on next week's agenda.
Maybe one quick question, in looking at this, would you go over what they're paying, or is this just for paving and
Josh is not here, and he had spoke to me about it. It's different wearing surfaces as you see there, so it's different types of paving, whether it's binders and layers and whatnot. It's just dependent on the condition of the road, so that's what, depending on what type of paving we're going to do is dependent on the price.
These are not for specific streets anymore?
No, sir, no,
Just for
not
next
it.
year's
That's right.
It would cover up to $200,000
Worth of paving, that's
worth
right,
of paving.
yes.
Yeah.
We have these 3 A-trip projects and that service road going on, so I don't know how much additional paving we'll do in addition to that. But if we are, this bid is good for any work that we have to do.
Thank you.
Next item is the resolution to award the striping bid. Ms. Phillips, you want to cover that as well, please?
We also requested bids for striping. We posted one, mailed 2, and received 1. We received a bid from J.C. Cheek Contractors, and you have in front of you the bid results for that. And it is recommended that the bid be awarded to J.C. Cheek Contractors.
Any questions?
It's my understanding that this is not just for streets that we may pave, but yet streets that may just need striping. And I've had a dozen people over a dozen months tell me of this street, and at the time, we didn't have anyone anyone striping, so some of that has slipped my mind. So I would like to ask if anyone has a street that really needs it badly, if they would notify one of us on the council, the mayor, city engineer, Eddie Blizzard, and just get a list of those streets, and then perhaps they can look at those streets and pick the worst ones, and maybe even stripe some streets that don't need paving. Because I know there are some that have nothing on them, so I know they need it.
And that's typically what we do, Mr. Smith, is that, they're not always up in this area, so we'll get a list together, and then when they come, that they'll stripe our crosswalks as well as the striping for the road. So, yeah, if you hear of any, let us know, and we'll put it on the list, and when we get them here 2 or 3 times a year, we'll have them do the striping.
Okay, thank you.
Is there an amount to do not exceed on this?
The 200,000 that Whitney talked about is for paving and striping both, so it's a total amount.
Any other questions? We'll have that on the next week's agenda as well. We'll go to reports, Mayor.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Wallingford?
Just thank everybody for coming out. Thank the folks with the downtown redevelopment and downtown Scottsboro. I will point out, Ms. Light, you guys understand the importance from this point forward, coming to us before this, right? Getting these dates approved and things of that nature, because I don't foresee us not approving this, but it could throw a wrench in the gears from here on out. So I do wish that those 2 functions could be held in conjunction with first Monday, but when we're giving away spaces for first Monday, it's kind of hard to for downtown Scottsboro to charge the rates that they're charging. So unfortunately, I don't see a way for those 2 functions to coexist. But I think that one will certainly win popularity with the other. So thank you.
Mr. Smith?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Miller?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Stewart?
I don't have anything.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We're adjourned. Thank you.